Part 1. Look at you, holding your pain like it's fragile glass, tilting it carefully, convinced that the right angle will keep it from cutting deeper. You believe you're handling it discreetly, that no one notices, that your quiet is invisible. It isn't. That silence screams. It's the loudest part of you. You wear it like a freshly ironed shirt, composure pressed flat, the polite nod, the perfected, "I'm fine," delivered with just enough smile to deflect. These civilized people catch the fracture in your tone, they hear it. They simply don't care enough to pause, to probe, to ask a second time, and you resent them for that, not with outbursts or rage. No. Your resentment is clean, controlled, jaw clenched, face neutral. Like resenting rain when you're already soaked and shivering. You resent them because they continued forward untouched, while you mastered the art of swallowing sharp things whole. You convince yourself you're not angry, you're just exhausted, not lonely, private, not wounded, just past it, moved on. You repeat it with that fragile confidence, as if declarations could reprogram your biology. They can't. Your body refuses to lie. It archives everything. Your body recalls the nights glued to your screen, checking notifications like monitoring a pulse. Recalls scripting responses in your head for conversations that never happened. Recalls pride eroding into desperation. Just one message, anything, please. Recalls forcing smiles to signal strength, when those smiles tasted metallic, survival, not joy. You label yourself a survivor. Accurate. But survival isn't only about enduring them. It's about enduring your own repetition, returning to the same closed door, knocking persistently like a forgotten pet, waiting for someone who long ago marked you as expendable. You reframe it beautifully: loyalty, patience, depth of heart. It's none of those. It's fear in disguise. These civilized people polished, presentable fear, the deep dread that seizing the chase for scraps means confronting the truth. You were never truly welcomed at the feast. Waiting masquerades as agency, as hope. Hope assigns you purpose: remain tender, remain accessible, remain valuable. Even as hope drags its feet, weary and wounded, you loop the moment endlessly, the one where you offered your finest self. Midnight, availability, forgiveness served preemptively, understanding poured without measure. And they gazed past you as if you were mere background. You insist you weren't pleading. You were simply present, accommodating, graceful. It's almost impressive, the elegance with which you wrapped raw desperation in refined words. But strip it down, and the truth is stark, unflattering. You absorbed early that love requires contraction, diminishing yourself to fit. Now, kindness without expectation makes you uneasy. Someone allowing you full volume feels suspicious, because without the performance, without the earning, what remains of your value? That doubt nests deep in your chest, heavy as stone. Nights strip away distractions, leaving you in internal court, prosecuting yourself before a jury of unresolved echoes, memories that offer no absolution. You maintain those memories meticulously, the realization of being final option. Ooh, it's fine, that corroded your throat. The observation of tenderness extended to all but you. You name it introspection, it's self-flagellation. Assigning blame to yourself restores order to chaos. If it's your failing, it's fixable, controllable, so you claim fault for the comfort of illusion. You mourn not only the person, you mourn the constructed world where sufficient effort would secure their stay. Shame accompanies that mourning. You're intelligent enough to recognize the flaw, yet intellect doesn't cauterize wounds. Intellect merely hones the blade you direct inward. Why can't I release this? You demand of yourself, framing it as deficiency, weakness. The harsher reality release eludes because a fragment of you insists on victorious narrative. You crave the closing chapter where regret consumes them, and existence affirms, yes, you sufficed. You always did, yet existence distributes no such neat resolutions. Individuals depart, erase, chuckle, curate joy online. You remain clutching the hollow outline of your offerings. The profound shame lies not in their exit. Well, it lies in your persistent allegiance to one who forfeited allegiance to your fundamental worth. Dignity isn't arrogance. It's the refusal to desert yourself for another's ease. You deserted in increments, subtle, cumulative chuckling at diminishing humor. Consenting when dissent burned inside, justifying anguish as if seeking approval to possess it, pardoning swiftly lest fury render you undesirable, evolving into the steady presence, the empathetic one, the non-disruptive force. Society commended your growth, reaping rewards from your muted voice. Kindness and capitulation differ fundamentally. You sense the distinction, that throat constriction swallowing honesty, facial flush forcing grins. That's your essence protesting from within. I'm here, sees abandoning me. No external savior arrives for the self you continually disregard. You claim attachment stems from profound love. Authentic love demands no self. Respect sacrifice, relabeled devotion. You claim pursuit of closure. Closure exists in their demonstrated priority, or lack thereof. You contest evidence because ego demands alternate ruling. You claim refusal to abandon others, admirable, until recognizing repeated abandonment of self to retain diminishers. No, conditioning, instructed that palatability purchases retention. Thus, you smoothed edges, bent willingly, tolerated infinitely, endurance donned as shield. No prison. Pride swelled in tolerance capacity. Confusion followed persistent ache. Destruction came not from malice, from apathy, from casual disregard amid your hemorrhage. Thus, people. Relevance pursued swift responses, immediate aid, rapid absolution, velocity equating significance. Significance, however, resides in steadfastness, deliberation, unobserved decisions. Their decisions whispered insufficient priority for caution. Sees equating their incapacity with your inadequacy. That equation fuels ongoing torment. Sees refining incompatible key for mismatched lock. Grief extends beyond the individual. Grief for prayer, shame self incinerated. You traverse ashes, fingers tracing remnants. Murmuring verification of authenticity. Authenticity undeniable. Love genuine, effort sincere. People, pain derives from sincerity in a realm treating sincerity as expendable tender. You extended, these civilizationally, hoping extension purchased permanence, wound root concealed exchange within affection. Sever link sufficient action ensures retention. Severance mimics mortality, demise of accommodating. Minimal need, perpetually comprehending archetype. Beneficiaries decry alteration, frigid, evolved. Self-centered, permit declarations. Discomfort signals recovery, regret from them heals nothing. Reconstruct via criteria, not contrition. Decline pursuing fugitives. Endure solitude sans hysteria. Fortify existence against singular departure collapse. Heed physiology amid hollow vows. Seize dismissing instinct as excess rumination. Seize purchasing presence via vitality. You aren't utility. You are individual. Boundaries exclude not affection. They exclude exploiters claiming residence. Tests arrive via culpability inducement. Endure culpability. People. Archaic script, not verity. Knowledge of necessity exists. Draining ties identified. Need-based contacts. Perpetual near misrelations. Obstacle not awareness. Valor. Self-selection exacts illusions. Attachments. Former self of infinite yield. Yields authentic existence return. Not universal adoration. Existence permitting rest sans device vigil. Rooms entered sans acceptability computation. Denials uttered sans preparation. Strength manifests subtly, unspectacular. Indestructible. Potential regret from them, not enlightenment, but absence of utilities. Base restoration, not therion. Criteria practices. Internal codes, self-consistency. Formerly absent toward personal requirements. Safeguard duration, concentration, core. Via discernment, not petrification. Retain benevolence. Retain tenderness. Abandon pliancy. These shame resurgence claiming excess. Recall boundary. Absent profiteers label minimum demands excessive. Permit discourse. Permit departure. Endured gravert erasure amid total donation. Now endure visibility. Self-initiated solitude no sentence. Transient phase. Alter via self-constructed refuge. Decision upon decision. Ache notwithstanding. Settlement temptation ignored. No return to maturity. Masqueraded starvation, cost witnessed. Future return with tardy remorse. People. Sweetened rationales, no vengeance required. Mere unavailability for renewed reduction. Life constructed affirming your significance. Formerly suffocating quiet transforms breathable, stable, serene, possessed. Self-desertion ceases. None substitutes. You already know what needs to die. The version of you that measured worth by how quietly you could bleed. The version that confused endurance with strength, tolerance with love, silence with virtue. That version has to collapse. And it will feel like grief because people profited from it. They will protest when the free supply ends. They will call you different, difficult, cold. Good. Let them. Their complaints are not judgment. They're withdrawal symptoms. Regret from them won't stitch your wounds. It might stroke your ego for a minute, like cheap sugar on an empty stomach. But it won't rebuild what you dismantled in yourself by accepting disrespect. Rebuilding is your work. And it starts with standards, not apologies. You stop chasing anything that runs. You learn to sit with loneliness without treating it like an emergency. These civilized people. You make your life sturdy enough that one person's absence doesn't bring the roof down. You start listening to your body, the tightness in your chest when a promise feels thin, the heaviness when you're carrying the entire connection alone. You stop dismissing your intuition as overthinking. It's pattern recognition. You stop paying for presence with your energy, your time, your gifts. You are not a public resource. You are a person. Boundaries aren't cruelty. They're architecture, not to block love, but to stop predators from strolling in and declaring squatters' rights. Some will test the new walls. They'll weaponize guilt. They'll hand you the old script. You'll be tempted to slip back into being manageable. Familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar peace. That temptation is loud. Sit with it. It's conditioning, not truth. You already know exactly which ties drain you, which friend only calls when they need something, which person keeps you tethered with almost, which environment shrinks you. You feel the exact moment a boundary is crossed, small alarm in your body. You ignore it because conflict scares you. Being disliked scares you. Solitude scares you. Your problem has never been ignorance. It's courage. The courage to endure short-term discomfort for long-term sovereignty. Choosing yourself will cost you people. It will cost you fantasies. It will cost you the identity of the endlessly accommodating one. But it will purchase your life back. Not the fantasy life where everyone adores you. The real one, where you sleep without a screen as life support. These civilized people, where you enter rooms without scanning for the acceptable version of you. Where no leaves your mouth without a prepared defense. That's strength. It's quiet. It doesn't trend. But it's unbreakable. They might regret losing you someday. Not because they grew a conscience, but because they missed the convenience. The fast replies, the emotional labor, the way you made them feel significant without demanding reciprocity. Don't build your healing on their regret. Build it on your standards, your routines, your private rules. Become consistent with yourself in a way you never were with your own needs. Protect your sleep. Protect your focus. Protect your time. Protect your heart. Not by turning to stone, by becoming selective. But you stay kind. You stay soft. But you stop being spineless when shame creeps back. Whispering you're too much, too intense, too sensitive, remember? People who profit from your lack of boundaries will always call you too much the second you ask for basic respect. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. Let them leave. You've survived worse than being misjudged. You survived being invisible while pouring everything out. Now survive being seen by yourself first, then slowly by people who don't require your quiet bleeding to feel safe. Loneliness is not a verdict. It's a season. You change seasons not by begging the weather, but by building shelter with your own hands. Brick by brick, choice by choice, even when your chest aches, even when the old voice whispers, settle. You are done mistaking humiliation for patience, done calling neglect, giving space, done calling crumbs hope, done confusing intensity with intimacy, done reopening scars to prove you can take it. One day, people, if they return with late regret and gentle excuses, and that suddenly sweet tone, people, you won't need to hate them. You won't need to chase. You won't even need to punish. The strongest response is simple. You won't be available for diminishment. People. You will have built a life that treats you like you matter. And the silence that once choked you will become something you can stand inside. Solid, calm, yours. You are no longer abandoning yourself, and no one gets to take that place. But let's go deeper, because you still resist the final layer. Part of you secretly liked the role of quiet sufferer. It made you feel pure. Deeper, morally superior to the careless ones. That superiority kept you chained to the victim, saint identity. The one who endures, forgives. These civilized people takes the high road, even when the high road was just a lonely detour with no limits. Taking the high road out of fear isn't noble. It's familiar. You can forgive without reopening the door. You can understand without granting access. You can wish them well without letting them near your peace again. Forgiveness isn't reunion. It's releasing their throat in your mind so your hands are free to build. These civilized people, you are done waiting for their humility to complete your story. Some will never understand what they took. Some will rewrite history to protect their ego. Some will always see themselves as the victim. Waiting for their truth is just another way to stay tethered. You become your own witness. You say, "This hurt. This was unacceptable. I will not return." And you let that be enough. You stop trying to redeem wasted years by obsessing. Understanding doesn't buy back time. Disciplined use of the present does. So you start treating your time like it matters. People. You build routines that don't depend on mood, because mood has been hostage to memory too long. You do the small, unglamorous things, sleep on schedule, move your body, eat what fuels you, read what sharpens you, create what grounds you. Small consistencies rebuild self. Trust. Trust isn't a feeling, it's evidence you accumulate by keeping promises to yourself. Once you trust yourself, other people's inconsistency stops feeling like proof of your inadequacy. It becomes a filter. Growth will be tested. The test arrives as a late night message from the one who drained you, as an invitation to the place that made you small, as sudden interest from someone who never saw you before, as nostalgia at 3 a.m., as loneliness on a quiet weekend. The test is simple. These civilized people, will you betray the person you're becoming for the comfort of the person you were? Loyalty to yourself isn't selfishness. It's principle. You act from values, not hunger. You've lived hungry long enough, hungry for approval, for being chosen, for someone to finally treat you like you belong. Hunger accepts scraps. Values demand full meals. You refine the desire. You don't just want to be loved. You want respect, safety, consistency, reciprocity, partnership that doesn't require shrinking. Love without those is just a pretty word people use to excuse laziness. You stop volunteering to absorb other people's immaturity. You stop being the adult in every room. You stop carrying emotional weight for two. Boundaries aren't abandonment. They're honesty. This is what I can offer. This is what I will not tolerate. Enabling isn't kindness. It's participation. People, you are done participating in your own reduction. Grief will come in waves. Clean this time. passing an old place, hearing their phrase, waking with no one to share a thought. Memory will play only the sweet highlights to lure you back. You become smarter than nostalgia. You remember the full cost, not just the rare warmth. You are not trying to win them back. You are trying to win yourself back. Humiliation shaped you more than you admit. Not loud humiliation, quiet, being ignored, being the one who always reaches first, being treated as if gratitude for scraps was your duty, pretending you didn't care when caring burned your throat. Humiliation taught you to link love with anxiety, to anticipate blows, to earn your place daily. Now gentleness feels suspicious. You brace for the shift. That suspicion isn't wisdom, it's scar tissue. Scar tissue heals through new evidence, repeated safety. You create the first layer yourself. Reliability toward you. Safety with yourself looks boring. Keeping commitments when no one watches. These civilized people. Getting up when you don't feel like it. Feeding yourself properly instead of numbing. Speaking truth when silence would be easier. Leaving when something feels wrong, even if the person is charming. You stop chasing people who like being chased. You stop auditioning to be seen. The right person won't need a performance to show up. They'll arrive consistently. Listen, respect your time. Refuse to make you feel foolish for feeling. That's not fantasy. That's minimum decency. Stop accepting less, and you stop attracting less. You stop spending attention like it's infinite. You stop renting space in your head to old ghosts and future fears. You take it back. Even if withdrawal feels like boredom at first, chaos was your normal. Chaos gave you adrenaline and purpose. Fix, prove, earn, chase. Peace feels empty until you fill it with purpose you choose. Purpose starts small. Finish the task you avoid. Walk without phone, drink water. Let your nervous system settle. Small purpose rebuilds the evidence that you matter to you. Once you become reliable to yourself, phrases like, "They will regret losing you," lose their charge. They become irrelevant. Not because you're heartless, because you're whole. You stop needing their opinion to confirm your worth. You stop waiting for the world to correct the story. You correct your own direction. That's power no one can take. People will notice the shift. The ones who dismissed you will watch from the sidelines, not because they changed, but because your absence removes their comfort. They feel the consequence they never expected. Because you used to erase consequences with instant forgiveness, they might reach out. Your ego will flare, finally chosen, finally seen. That flare is dangerous. It's not love. It's compensation for past dismissal. It will tempt you to lower standards, just enough for the cycle to restart. Decide your rules before emotion blinds you. Require pattern, not promises. Anyone can be intense for a week. Character shows when life is boring, stressful, inconvenient. You are no longer a rehabilitation center for basic decency. Your time is not charity. Your heart is not a community garden. Even if you made mistakes, were messy, unclear, fearful, explosive, you still deserved respect. Accountability isn't self-punishment. Improve without accepting mistreatment. Growth isn't a reason to stay in chains. You build not on hope, but on policy. I refuse disrespect. I leave faster. I protect what's mine. And when the old hunger screams you'll be alone forever, you let it scream. You don't argue. You don't feed it. You keep building. Because the goal isn't never being hurt again. It's never abandoning yourself when it happens. You become someone who can face disappointment without collapsing into shame. You evaluate, you address. You boundary, you leave if needed. You keep moving. You treat yourself like someone you're responsible for. That's the shift. That's the quiet consequence. You become someone who cannot be casually lost. You require intention to access. Your presence is no longer cheap. The ones who prefer cheap will leave. Let them. The ones who value depth will arrive. Or you'll be fine without, because the one relationship you can't escape finally treats you with reverence. The darkest truth. The one that keeps you alive and moving. Some wounds will never get the apology they deserve. Some people will never see what they broke. Waiting for their awakening is just another cage. You stop waiting. You turn pain into discipline, loneliness into clarity, shame into boundaries, memories into lessons, tears into strength. You keep going, steady, awake, until night feels like training ground, not punishment. Until you stop asking who will choose you and start choosing who you will be. When no one is watching, promising, clapping, just you and your truth in the dark. And you don't flinch, you don't beg, you breathe, you build. Even when hands shake, even when peace feels boring, even when chaos calls like an old lover, you continue. Because you've memorized the cost of half love, and you are not going back, not after what it took from you. The silence becomes strength, not shut down, but refusal to beg the world for proof you matter. You already know it. Bull. You act like it long enough that it becomes bone deep, and if they ever look back and feel that twist, it won't move you. You won't be standing where they left you. You'll be somewhere else entirely, built by your own steady hands, anchored in your own mind. The part that once whispered, "Please don't leave," finally quiets, not dead, safe. Because you are not leaving you anymore, and nobody gets to replace that.